Hi guys, how are you today? I'm back. I am out on the trail. I have to tell you, I don't think there has been a more beautiful and pitch perfect day in terms of the weather than today. My goodness, it's like a crisp, perfect 72 degrees. I am so thoroughly enjoying being out here today. And you know, one of the things I want to tell you about walking, this is rated the top exercise. The top exercise. Best thing you can do for yourself, guys, is start a practice. If you have the fancy gym membership, that's fine. No problem there. Do what you like, but boy, walking every day, start with 20 minutes. I've built it up to about 90 minutes because I love being out here so much, but my goodness, it really packs a punch. I want to thank you guys. I've heard from so many of you over the years, and I must say you inspire a lot of the topics that I talk about every day are inspired by you, and you've been chiming in big time big time lately. And I recently heard from James, and he gets the credit for what we're going to be talking about today. He asked me a question, and it's a question that a lot of people would shy away from, but I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm going to tackle it straight up and head on. And his question was, what do I do when, Sheila, I started out in my relationship, I was in my early 20s, pretty much winging it, living very unconscious, met this cute girl, and honestly, it was really her looks that drew me in, and things just tumbled along from there. It's 15 years later, and I'm telling you, we could not be further apart. We are literally two different people. I mean, we wake up. What wakes us up every morning is entirely different. Our goals, our focus, our hopes, our dreams, how we treat each other, how we feel about the relationship. I mean, we just don't have anything in common. We've literally, in every sense of the word, we have grown apart. And she would be content to stay in the relationship, but I'm at a point in my life where I just want more. I want more out of life, and I just don't know what to do. She is not interested in any kind of growth and development, and I feel so guilty because when I took my vows, when I stood there, I really meant every word of it, and everything about that day so many years ago has changed. So that's his dilemma, and like I said, I am going to answer that question head on, but not before I tell you something else, a little bit of information. As you all know, I'm based here in New Jersey, and my answer to his question has a lot to do with evolution. And this little canal that you see me walking through, millions and millions of years ago, right here in this spot, there were woolly mammoths. There were dinosaurs, particular dinosaur, and you all know how I feel about my dinosaur stories. It's a dinosaur called a Mosasaurus. And as I'm walking, that dinosaur might have been right in this spot. So it's just fantastic to think about that. Now, what does that have to do with the question? Because the answer to his question has every single thing to do with evolution. Evolution, guys. We are all on a timeline. It's an exquisite timeline. Nothing stays the same. We're always changing. The person that you were 10 years ago is not the person that you are today. So I have to tell you, in answering his question, we really have to look at not just the evolution of an individual, but the evolution of a relationship. You know, it's interesting, a lot of young folks reach out for advice about their relationship. They're in the mate selection process. You know, there's ups and downs when they're dating. And one of the things that I tell people unequivocally, when you are choosing your mate, and I'm talking about the heavy hitter, the one you're going to take this walk with, a lot of people look at income. A lot of folks look at levels of attractiveness. You know, all of that goes into the mix. But I'm going to give you a word here. Bandwidth. Bandwidth. Look for someone who's going to give you that room that you need to change and grow, and the person who is going to change and grow with you. And sometimes it can be a little bit tough to know, but people, if you're taking your time, that's why I don't advocate for jumping right in to relationships, getting so super duper serious when you're young. I mean, people do it and it can work out, but you really have to look at the big picture. Is there enough bandwidth? And James, like I said, I'm going to answer your question very head on, not going to run away from it. I really feel in my heart that a key question you need to ask yourself, number one, who have I become? Who have I become in this relationship? That's a key question. And number two, who will I become if I stay in this relationship? Again, it goes back to evolution, folks. It goes back to evolution. In as much as we fall in love with a person, and I think many of you can agree with this, we also fall in love with how that person makes us feel about ourselves. Every single relationship that you encounter in your life, it's two parts. It's the relationship itself, and also how the relationship makes you feel. What part of yourself do you have an opportunity to experience in that relationship? And one of the things that James was very candid about is, I hate myself. I hate who I have become in this relationship. I'm literally unrecognizable to myself. And folks, when you reach that stage in a relationship, then you have to ask a third question. Am I willing to continue to sacrifice my life, excuse me, for the sake of the relationship? Because that is exactly what you're doing. That is exactly what you're doing. I'm a big advocate for family preservation, where it makes sense, and where there is health, and where there is growth, and where there's wiggle room to grow. I always advocate that couples try to work it out, because I feel that oftentimes growing together, getting over those hurdles of change and evolution, you can even experience yourself on deeper levels. That said, there are spaces in time where you can grow so far, apart that distance becomes toxic. There's a toxicity involved in it. So one of the things I'd like you to do, if you're in a similar space as James, is sit and answer those questions. It's deeply personal. It's something you have to answer for yourself. But I have to tell you folks, as I've said in many of my videos. I'm in the business of truth. And I feel like if you answer those questions truthfully, you are going to have an opportunity. You're going to have an opportunity to springboard into a life that is relevant, that is whole, but you always have to start with the truth. So I certainly hope that answers your question, James. I hope that you've heard something that is inspiring and uplifting. And folks, again, just keep in mind, we're all changing, we're all growing. And unfortunately, there will be relationships. They come in, they're with us for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Everyone's not going to take the long haul with us. And sometimes the healthiest and best thing to do is walk the other way. The relationships break apart. You do it in a classy way, a dignified way, and you move on with your journey. Thanks so much, guys. See you next time.